Hi, this is Ken from Let's Rock.
Oh, hey Ken, how's it going?
It's going great, thanks. How are you doing?
Can't complain.
Bizarre times.
Yeah, very, very strange.
How are you holding up with all this stuff going on?
Well, I can't complain. I'm healthy. My mom is healthy. What else is there?
It's a good
I
point.
mean, at the end of the day, yeah. I can't complain.
That's awesome. That's a good way to look at it. Could be
Yeah, for
could be
sure.
worse, right?
It always could be worse at a
Absolutely.
moment's notice.
Absolutely. Strange times. Happy
Yeah, and
happy belated
are
birthday,
you,
by the way.
oh, thank you. I don't even celebrate them anymore.
I know. I gave up. I gave up years ago.
Did you? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think once I turned 40, my 40th birthday, I spent on a day off on tour in a laundromat in Thunder Bay by myself doing laundry for the band. And I thought, you know what? This is fucking perfect. I thought, yes, this is important. It's an important day that I turn 40, and this is my reality. And I just thought it's perfect. It's like this is exactly what it should be about. It shouldn't be about celebration. It should be about doing what you love. As long as you're
Doing
doing what
laundry?
you love. Well, being on tour
Oh,
and
that
and
works.
yeah,
Yeah.
and doing laundry for the band so that they could go have a day off. Absolutely. I've been a tour manager since I was 21, so
Wow.
that's always been my job, even if
Wow.
it's my tour.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You're busy.
Well, it's like being a mommy.
You're full-grown kids. Yep.
Yeah, exactly, and I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. So let me explain what I'm doing here.
Okay.
Basically, what happened was when Neil Peart died, I went on a little bit of a Canadian bender for music.
Oh,
And
very
I've been listening
nice.
to a ton of Canadian music, and I feel bad about this, but I forgot how good it was,
Sure.
and it was really nice to, as terrible as the situation was, because I was a big Rush fan, but
Oh,
as
sorry.
well, it's life again, right? It
I
happens.
know.
It's
Yeah,
terrible, but
we're all getting old.
oh, jeez.
Yeah.
But basically, what it did was it brought back that passion for Canadian music, and I wanted to reach out to as many Canadian artists as I could to just get their
Cool.
feelings on, what it's like to be a Canadian in the industry, and if there's a big difference between Canadian music and other music, and so
Right.
that's basically where all this started. And
Very cool.
I've talked to a couple bands in the last 2 weeks or so, and it's really interesting to me how important punk music was,
Especially in Canada.
especially in Canada in the late '80s, early '90s. Why?
Uh,
Why is that?
well, I think for us, the punks were the ultimate rebels, and they were doing touring in Canada, which was very difficult geographically. Bands like the Guess Who and even Rush and stuff like that. Even though they probably cut their teeth along the Trans Canada Highway just like the punk bands did. For our generation, anyway, I can only speak for myself. I'm
Sure.
Generation X girl.
Right.
We looked to bands like DOA and No Means No because they were fucking animals on tour. They just toured relentlessly. They didn't care about the drive times and the distances. And that gave birth to bands like the Real Mackenzies, who are notoriously uh, resilient touring guys and stuff like that. I think that we looked up to them. Those were the first shows that I ever went to were bands like that. DRI was my introduction into a show, and I think DOA was the next one, and of course I was in Winnipeg, but no, I think that there was a real that resilient quality that they had, and again, the geography in Canada and a distance for all the drives made us the strongest bands in the world. Really, I mean, I'm sure there's probably the Siberian and Russian bands that did long drives as well, but of course I can't tell you for sure. All I know is that in Canada, yeah, you really grew balls touring in this country, and all the other bands that came from other countries that were more populated and less geographically daunting, they were pussies compared to the Canadian bands because we had it really hard. There were no gas stations between Thunder Bay and Sault Ste. Marie.
That's true.
But everybody did it. And, if you, even tours that I do today, we have to go from Calgary to Dawson Creek overnight. And I think young bands today would be like, oh, we can't do that. And meanwhile, we're like, yeah, we've done it 30 times, 100 times,
Right.
So I think that punk were the original DIY touring bands, and we learned from them. And I was very lucky that I got to open for most of them.
Who did you open for back then?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. SNFU, DOA, No Means No, Agent Orange, the Day Glow Abortion. Yeah, the Day Glow Abortions. Just like Forgotten Rebels, bunch of fucking goofs, BFG. I don't know. The Ripcords, the Riptides. A million bands.
That's amazing. What did you learn from them from a business standpoint?
Well, basically,
what you just said.
It was up to us. We had to survive. Sometime I remember one in particular that I talked about in my book, which was playing this club called the Satyricon in Portland. It's a very famous club. I guess it's like Zayfods or one of these clubs for a reference point. And we got paid $23.
Woo.
And we had to make that work to get us to Riverside, California for the next gig. And we bought a burrito and split it, because the Mission District in San Francisco sold these burritos that were, bigger than, the circumference of our leg. And for, $4 American, all of us could eat. So, I think that these DIY bands, we learned everything from them. And we owe them everything because, they just taught us to be self-sufficient. When I couldn't get a record deal in Canada on my first record, so I just formed my own company. Like, I didn't have a choice. And if I wouldn't have seen punk bands doing that all along, I never would have really thought of it. I never would have thought it was possible. But, we learned everything from punk.
That's amazing. $23. You mentioned Zayfods. Have you played Zayfods?
Many times.
That's awesome. I think it's shut down.
I'm sure it is. And most of the venues, right now in Canada, all these venues that we've all played, they're saying probably 90% of them won't come back.
Oh, that's so sad.
It's hard to envision, but it's real.
Yeah, but it's as a live music fan, it's heartbreaking.
Well, it's going to be so different. I don't know what to expect. For us, I'm in a writing phase anyway. I'm working on a book and another science-y book and stuff, which is super time-consuming. So we were pretty much planning to be home. But I had speaking gigs that were canceled. I had my convocation got canceled. And our tour with Buck Cherry got postponed. So hopefully that still happens.
They're saying 2021 it might get back to normal, but who knows, right?
Well, yeah, it's hard to say.
You were actually out this way not too long ago, I believe.
Oh, probably for an acoustic show.
Yeah, and I can't remember exactly where that was.
Meat Cafe.
Right.
Yeah, Burnstown, wonderful place. So Burnstown and Arnprior are great little places to play. Great towns, lots of music fans, and up, skip, and jump from Ottawa, Oshawa. We played in Nepean. this time I've never played there before. And, just life goes on. We do what we do. Every year is different. And every year, I don't know. I never get tired of playing shows, ever.
Well, that's good. I mean, you've been doing it for a long time, so if you haven't gotten tired of it yet, you should be good for a few more years anyway.
I hope so, yeah. I've been doing it for 31.
Is it 31 years?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, actually more, 32, since 1988.
Good Lord.
The first show I ever played, yeah. I was on the news, but...
Wow. That's amazing. And since that time, you've kind of done quite a bit of other stuff as well. Some acting, some writing, some activist work. How do you do all this? When do you get a break?
Well, if you're self-employed, you can't take one, number one. I mean, you hustle. And number two, stuff like anything that I do that's speaking or advocacy or activist work, I do it for free, and because it's a passion, so that stuff never stops and it never changes. Different causes come in and out of my periphery, but ultimately I like standing up for the little guy.
Yeah, when I was reading your bio, I just couldn't believe all the stuff you've done. It's incredible. Congratulations, by the way. I mean, that's something to be proud of. And
well, thanks. I don't know. I think that we all, if given the opportunity, we would all be doing the same thing. Which is working back to help other people. I mean, if we didn't have to actually pay for our own sandwiches, I think everybody would be a full-time volunteer.
Good point. Yeah. Unfortunately, the other stuff gets in the way.
That's right.
Okay, I wanna talk about your music a little bit.
Okay.
Something I'm always interested in, because I'm not very good at it, is the writing process.
Right.
Do you just write the lyrics, or do you write the music as well?
Mostly I collaborate with everyone else. I've always been a writer. I've always written poetry and short stories. So lyric writing for me is it's the easiest thing in the world to do. There are a couple songs that I, wrote myself, but they're few and far between because I don't play guitar. Plain and simple. And I like collaborating. I mean, when we were in punk bands, it was just always the four of us in a room. And that's just how I learned to do songwriting, is with other people. And I still work that way. I love working that way. And, other people make these crazy chords that inspire lyrics in me. And it just seems to always be how it works.
So does the music come first, or do the words come first, or does the melody come first?
It depends on the song.
It's always different.
Them each way. Yeah, I've done it each way. And mostly the music tends to come first. But as far as other writing, I'm always writing. So sometimes I'll use a lyric prompt that I already have, but a lot of time it seems like writing for the music that I'm given seems to be how songwriting always works.
And where do your lyrics come from? Where does your inspiration come from?
Well, it depends. I've written songs about butterflies, murder, abortion, heartbreak, bicycles. I mean, it really just depends. I think that mostly it's probably lived experience. I think that people write songs about something that they have lived.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's something I don't know how to do well. I'm always just fascinated by people who can come up with song lyrics. Always.
No, I don't know. I always say it's easy to write a song when you think about it. Like, row your boat gently down the stream. That's one sentence. It's one sentence that was set to music.
Yeah, it's not that easy though. I mean, if it was that easy, like everybody hockey would do it, right?
I suppose, yeah, like hockey.
Exactly. Everyone knows you take a slap shot, you shoot the puck, and it goes in the net, but it's not as easy as it looks, right?
Sure, yes,
right.
Yes.
I was listening to a lot of your music last night. I was on YouTube and I was watching a bunch of videos, and
Oh, cool.
I think one of the coolest things about your music for me is how you switch styles so much.
Oh,
And
good.
I've always loved that about bands.
Right.
And I love it when bands switch up. I mean, you have pop songs, you have punk songs, you have everything. Where does all this love come from for that kind of music? And when you do write that kind of music, or when you do write any song, are you thinking maybe we should do a punk song here? So let's write a punk song, or is it just whatever comes out from the jams?
Well, I've been really lucky since my first record. They kind of let me, do what I wanted and kind of experiment. So in 1994, when I was putting out my first record, I did a punk song, a metal song, a ballad, with trying to do some R&B stylings. I did a rap song, and it just really seemed like a good fit for me because, we were Generation X kids. We loved everything. We loved the Chili Peppers, Fishbone, Jane's Addiction, and we loved, Voivod and Pantera and all these different styles. And we also loved Mariah Carey and Madonna. So, for me to have the opportunity to, put it all in one record, it probably pissed off the original diehard punk fans that I had made from my old bands. But in the end, that eclectic, stylistic way of doing things has kind of been part of my signature for all these years. So I'm very happy I could do that.
I knew there was metal in you.
Oh, yes. My very first concert was Iron Maiden Power Slave Tour, Winnipeg Arena.
I saw that
with
tour.
Twisted Sister opening.
Yep, Twisted Sister. I saw that.
Yeah, a great tour.
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, it was one of those life changers.
Absolutely, and again, it's our generation. That was when we were all coming of age, and it was hugely important.
Absolutely. And speaking of metal, you also covered a Metallica song.
Yes, I did, and a
Nothing
Twisted
Else Matters.
Sister song. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did see that.
Yeah.
How do you choose a cover song and why?
I don't, and I was asked.
Aha. Okay, that's easy.
I was just asked, yeah. So, We're Not Gonna Take It was for a movie called Ready to Rumble, which was a wrestling movie with Scott Conn and David Arquette. Mm-hmm. And Nothing Else Matters was basically, we always wanted, obviously, huge Metallica fans, and Justice for All is probably everyone's favorite record of all time in their list. And for me, it would be a toss-up between that and probably a Tony Braxton record. But truthfully, it was, to me at the time, it was a really meaningful song, and we wanted to do it. My manager at the time had an American co-manager, John and Marcia Zazula, and they managed Metallica for a number of years, and so it just worked out, and it was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, it's a beautiful rendition that you've done. It's excellent.
Thank you. I love it.
It's such a good song.
I don't sing it live, hardly ever, because I always cry.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, and it's just embarrassing. I want to be tough ass on stage. So it's like, I'm not going to put it in the set. So mostly that's why.
It's a pretty impressive song, for sure.
It's very emotional.
It
and
is.
Anyone who has lost a friend, and by, the older we get, most of us are starting to lose as friends, as well as parents and pets and whatnot. So, yeah, we're all getting really quite sentimental.
Yeah, it's getting tough. I don't like this aging thing so much.
No, it's terrible.
I want to be 20 again.
Yeah, I don't want my knees to hurt.
Yeah, waking up is tough. That's not fun at all.
That's right.
Yeah. But it surprises me about that, like covering music. Can you just cover any song you want?
Well, you could probably get permission, but people do it all the time on, kids make TikToks with other music, and they've been making YouTube videos of themselves singing other music for years and years, so
But
I mean,
they're not putting it out on a licensed CD.
That's correct, and you have to get permission to do that.
Okay, so they would have to contact Metallica's managers, and they'd say, "Yeah, go ahead, do it." Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Got
Absolutely. It. Yeah. You can't do it unless you ask.
Okay. I'm just
We
surprised
always
because
do.
I haven't heard very many covers of Metallica songs, so I was surprised that you got to do it.
Well, at the time I was with Atlantic Records, and at the time my co-manager was Metallica's former manager, and all the original Metallica records came out of Megaforce Records, which was founded by John and Marcia Zazula, who were managing me at the time. So, all the planets kind of aligned.
Who are your top 5 Canadian bands?
Bands or artists?
Artists.
Well, I am a lyricist. So for me, lyrics have always figured very prominently in my world, anyway. And, I like, what can I say? I think that Jan Arden is probably one of the best lyricists, possibly, that I've ever met anywhere in the world. Her lyrics are profoundly interesting and, again, very sentimental, very, very meaningful. I like Chantal Kreviazek, who is enormously talented. And as much as she's very famous and has sold millions of records, I still think somehow she's underrated, and people don't realize the enormity of her talent. So I would say her. There is an artist, solo artist named William Prince, and he's a Canadian songwriter, a folk writer, another Winnipegger. And Ron Sexsmith, again, a beautiful lyricist, to say the least, just absolutely tremendous. And then, honestly, there was a band for a little while anyway, out of Vancouver that I personally thought was, I don't know, I think it might be bold of me to say, but I really believe it. And they were called 3 Inches of Blood.
Oh, my.
And 3 Inches of Blood was basically a heavy metal band. And so they're from British Columbia. I don't think they're together anymore. But 3 Inches of Blood, I felt at the time that they came out, really did kind of start a movement, almost like a renaissance, if you will, of metal, and particularly Canadian metal became extremely popular. Metal in Canada has always been really kind of groundbreaking in many ways. And again, geographically, our country is a bit limiting, and we have winter. So, all these kids growing up in their rooms writing riffs on guitars, and once they get into bands, they're all in their, Yamaha jackets and Bush jackets and leather jackets and sneakers and 40 below weather, kind of shuffling along to the jam space, and then just writing this go to metal. And it's actually very groundbreaking, and I think as a genre it may be one of the most creative genres that exist. And 3 Inches of Blood definitely did lead the way at the time for a real groundbreaking new era in metal. So I'm a huge fan.
It's a great name for a band too.
Yeah, they're just fantastic. You would just fantastic. Just fantastic. If I could ever play bass guitar well enough, I would like to be in a band like that, not sing, and just play drop C tuning like COC or something, just sick. Yes. Dress like Guar Girl and just wear a mask and just play bass on one string, nothing else.
Oh, there's so many things you could do with metal.
Oh yeah, it's the truth. It really is, and I think it's an underrated genre, and I think young kids today need to explore it more. Yeah,
but it's kind of disappearing.
Well, yes and no. I mean, there's pockets geographically of metal. There's a huge metal scene in Edmonton, there's metal scenes everywhere. Regina is another one. Great, and I'm talking about like death metal, like Norwegian death metal. There's just so much. In Montreal too, they have Heavy Montreal, and there's a lot of little baby bands that are just like these punky metal thrash bands that are outrageously heavy.
Japan is big too for that.
Yes, absolutely.
So let me ask you this: what are your plans for your? You said you're writing a book.
Well, last year I wrote my first book of poetry, called Razor Blade Chewing Gum, and this year I've been working on a comprehensive guide for caregivers in breast cancer. It's a really hard process because I'm not a good researcher, and research keeps changing. So it's an undertaking that I have wanted to do for years, but it's kind of like, it's like being in school.
I'm sure. Yeah.
It's very hard, and I need to concentrate. And I'm married to a Kiss fan, and B, a gamer. So the volume in my apartment is extremely loud all of the time.
Did you say a Kiss fan?
Oh, he's one of the largest Kiss collectors in the country. He is obsessed with Kiss. When he started dating me, he'd never heard my music ever and only listens to Kiss. And
Nice.
Now he's in my band.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun, but it's loud. It's loud in my house and in my life, and it's hard to concentrate. So, writing my book on comprehensive care guides for breast cancer is really difficult, and being quarantined or in lockdown or
you can't even get away from it.
Yeah, it's not. I can't even go to the library to work, so it's kind of a slow process. But I can't complain. We've been working on a record for the last year. We finished it in January. It's called Champion. We released a single called Jim, which came out in February, and the other 2 singles. I wanted to put out 3 singles and then release the rest of the record on single 3, because if you just release it all at once, people cherry pick what they want, and they don't listen to what you want them to listen to in the order that you want them to listen to it. And that's how old I am, where we used to listen to records from front to back.
It was an event. I've mentioned this before.
Yes.
Buying a record used to be like 2 hours of just sitting on your bed, listening, reading.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I wanted people to, the order of songs is a craft for the writing and the songs. So anyway, we've been working on that. We were going to release single number 2, probably in May, June, but ultimately the pandemic really sidetracked a lot of that for us. Which is okay, because we started noodling around with some of the mixes anyway.
Oh, you remixed it?
No, not at all. Just a couple songs.
Okay.
We wanted to add some guitars too, and just do a little knob twirl. And so the record is still coming out this year. It's still called Champion. It still has all the same songs. But yeah, hard to say. We've got a postponed tour that's supposed to happen in October. Obviously, we think this would be a little more ideal of a time to release anything, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, everything's up in the air right now.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but that's okay. Because like I said, our parents, our mothers anyway, are still alive, and there's nothing else really that matters.
That's right. That's right. Well, I wish you nothing but the best. This has been great. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you. What a treat.
Oh, this was really cool. And I regret not going to the show when you were out this way. I can't remember.
Well,
we were
I
planning on
suspect we
it.
will be again soon, Ken, because it's hard to say if the rock band format will be able to play these large venues anytime soon, but my guess is that we'll be doing acoustic shows long before, so hopefully we'll be coming back your way.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And until that time, best of luck with the noisy writing. Stay safe.
Thanks, Ken. You too.
me, Jim. You made a fool of me again and again. You never told the truth when I believed in you again and again. You tried to take control, unworthy of my love and money. Criticize and tell me how I feel. Tell me I don't measure up. Telling me I overreach. I'm begging you to leave. I'm begging you to leave. Fill me with rage. Fill my head with your lies. You never loved me, Jim. You made a fool of me again and again. You never told the truth when I believed in you again and again. You never loved me, Jim. You made a fool of me again and again. You never told the truth when I believed in you again and again. You could have done it all, could have anything, and I could jump from the bridge, but you'd be standing